I think it's safe to say that it's a goal for every podcaster to have some bang-in sponsorships and advertisements on the show. But there are some rules for advertising on podcasts. This video will educate you on legally advertising on your podcast, and by the end, you'll have a good understanding of certain rules that you need to keep in mind. So if you've been following this channel for a while, you've heard me talk about sponsored posts on Instagram and influencer and blogger sponsorships, right? But essentially, the FTC says that you must be fair and clear and transparent when there is a sponsored relationship with a brand that you are promoting. So how does this apply to podcasts? Well, if your audience has to ask, was that an advertisement just now? You're not doing it right. Just as with the Instagram and influencer space, in the podcast space, it must be clear to your audience when there is a sponsorship relationship with a brand. How can you do this? Well, one of my favorite examples is on the podcast The Sporkful. They have this great couple of variations of a sound reel that goes something like, time for some advertisements, yummy. So obviously the content that follows that is an advertisement. You don't have to go that far, but something like a sound effect to kind of break up the actual podcast content from the advertising content, that could work. Of course, saying that there's a sponsored relationship or saying that it's an advertisement or that the podcast is powered by or sponsored by a company, that's pretty clear. Just keep in mind that a clear disclaimer or a clear disclosure is not ambiguous. Remember, too, that you don't have to receive actual money in order for there to be a sponsored relationship with a brand, right? If they send you free goods or if you get free services in exchange for promoting a brand on the podcast, that's a sponsored relationship. And you can stay on brand when you make that disclosure. You know, if you have a personal experience with the brand or a product or a service, you can tell that story. It's just that it should still be clear that there is a sponsorship at play, that you've received something in exchange for giving that testimonial about the brand. So there you go. You need your clear disclosures. You have a few ways that you can set off that content from the actual body of the podcast episode. And I hope that those things help you understand kind of certain rules that you have to follow when advertising on the podcast. So, hey, if you like free information, and I think you do because you're watching this video, check out the links below and enjoy.